If you've been following me for a while, even if you're here for the first time, you'll notice that I enjoy covering French brand Yema. I have never received any money, free watches, or even a baguette from them. We just have a nice working relationship where they lend me watches and I film them, since I like what they do and the team is lovely. They put no restrictions as to what I say or do with them. So in this ongoing debate of so-called influencers, the reality here is that I'm just a watch fan like you, and the $12 that this video might earn me over a year won't influence me one way or another. The watch I have with me today is truly exciting and unique, but let's get one thing out of the way. Yes, the name Wristmaster lends itself to many childish jokes from my childish friends, and I suppose most of us men were indeed nudge mastering our wrists in our teenage years. So now that we have that out of our system, so to speak, let's talk. This is an incredibly interesting piece with an in-house microrotor movement with brilliant specs, an integrated bracelet with a butterfly clasp that includes a very elegant on-the-fly micro-adjust. It has a hand-brushed brass dial where the applied PVD coating interacts with the texture, ensuring no two dials are the same. The bezel is interesting, it's a very thin watch, and the display case back shows off a movement that is custom decorated for this model. It's somehow still available despite being a limited edition, and I hope to change that today, to be honest. I really think you should hang around for a full review today, since there is much to cover. You'll also be surprised at the very reasonable asking price, which I hope you'll forgive me for revealing towards the end. So, ladies and gentlemen, prepare your wrists. The sizes here are perfect in my opinion. Some of you might wish it was a tad larger, but it wears well. It is about 40.5mm diameter, but the bezel is 36mm, so it is both larger and smaller than what one might suspect. Lug to lug is about 44mm, and lug width is unimportant here since you'll never change the bracelet. It's a hair over 10mm thick, and I know it says 9 on the website, but it is 10 in the real world, and it weighs in at 131 gram. We also get a reassuring 100 meter water resistance and an excellent 5-year warranty. This hand brush dial is both quite industrial and beautiful, all at the same time. Beauty is of course in the eyes of the beholder, but what may seem like pressed carbon from a distance reveals itself as what I mentioned before, hand-applied brushes with a coating. It looks great both from a distance and close-up. The logo is sensibly printed at just the right size to not scream "look at me", and just above the 6 we get automatic in French. A tiny little print on the rehort also reveals manufactured in France, which is nice to see. Yema recently made moves for their more affordable versions to have Swiss movements, but this is one of their in-house ones as mentioned. These polished beveled indices are, to be honest, not great, but you also will in no way see the slight imperfections without a loop, so I can understand why it wasn't top priority to get them absolutely perfect. It could well just be the review sample that I have, but it's unfortunate all the same. I find the sword hands well proportioned and a white seconds hand makes sense. The lume on these hands in combination with a lume dot at the 5-minute marks is something I will cover shortly. The bezel shape is inspired by the Yema submarine model from the 1980s. It's made from a single piece of stainless steel and it benefits from exactly the same hand finishing as the dial. The PVD coating, once applied over this hand brush surface, enhances these details, resulting in a play of light that changes depending on the angle of viewing. Much like the bracelet and all other surfaces with the same application, it shimmers in the light. The steel case takes the form of an asymmetrical octagon with every single angle with the same set of irregular hand-brushed and polished PVD finishes. And it shimmers almost like velvet. It is a nice effect. The crown is also black, it's both signed and screws in between the subtle crown guards. I normally cover the movement here, but since we're on this surface treatment, this continues all the way through the entire bracelet. These individual links are really very good and tapers down to 18mm. I have not had any hair nips, which usually indicates a well thought through design. And whilst it is a pin and collar adjustment, that's forgivable here with such thin links and a treated PVD. This is one I'd be very careful adjusting myself. I really like the bracelet butterfly clasp, which is fitted with an elegant micro adjust mechanism allowing a 1.5mm to 3mm length adjustment. It's easy to do on the fly, and even when extended, it still looks good, almost as if it's a design feature to have these spaces. Extending and readjusting is also a soft and smooth experience. It's quite simply very, very good. So to this movement. I have seen this before on another model I covered not too long ago, but it's still a treat to see the tungsten microrotor in-house movement with every bridge decorated by hand. Once sandblasted, aluminium oxide is hand applied in all directions with a brush so as to obtain a bridge surface made of multiple facets that reflect light. This coating is then gently hand polished before it's finished with a black galvanoplasty bath. For each individual caliber, the whole process takes around 1 hour to complete, and this is all done in-house. I don't know what you think, but to my eyes the result is really very attractive. And this large sapphire glass back shows it off well. It's not just a looker though. Accuracy of -3 to +7 seconds per day and a 70-hour power reserve is no joke. It does however not hack, as in the hands do not stop when pulling the crown. This design is made in Switzerland, components are sourced in both France and Switzerland, and is all assembled in France. The Lume is certainly not this watch's biggest strength. It looks okay here with a very sensitive sensor and lens, but in real life it's unfortunately quite weak. It's also a little difficult to tell what's the minute and hour hand at night. Considering its specs, just look at the movement alone if you want to argue with me. The $2,449 asking price is rather reasonable indeed. If you love the design but is not a fan of black, you can save yourself $200 by going for the blue, yellow or champagne color options. But if you do, I think you're missing out on a very special piece of French watchmaking. You could, and pun most definitely intended, brush this off as a carbon look without the carbon, but it's not that. It's proudly using a whole different approach to creating a beautiful black piece that shimmers on your wrist, and it is incredibly cohesive. Sure, the indices could be better, perhaps they are in production, and it's just this review sample that's a little rough, but other than that, this is fighting well above its price, and I'm amazed that it's a limited run of 200 that can still be had. Here's your chance to pick one up, so do just that before further attempts are just met by a c'est la vie and adieu. Thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll catch you next time.